Asmongold has just unleashed a major revelation, exposing how the Game Awards have mishandled the Game of the Year category, and he's not pulling any punches. From questionable nominations to voting practices that raise eyebrows, the truth is finally coming to light. Why were so many deserving games ignored this year? Has the Game of the Year award become a political game? And why are gamers up in arms? Buckle up, because Asmongold's analysis will make you rethink everything you thought you knew about the Game Awards.
What? Gaming has been short on principle? What kind of shit-talking retard writes something like this? What the fuck do you even mean? Holy
on
shit.
principle this year.
Having an advocacy group for a sexual identity doesn't make sense for a video game fucking award show. It's ridiculous. This is an identity advocacy group. It's got nothing to do with video games.
Now, these are the games that did not receive nominations. Hell,
I don't think a DLC should get Game of the Year. Because you can't play a DLC. You can only play the game that the DLC exists for. That's my opinion. I think it's ridiculous. It's like you go through, you click on it, thanks for your vote, and there's like no internal system to even counts the votes in the first place. They don't even know, like, what do players vote on? We don't know. Like, yeah, it just takes you to the same webpage.
Stick around, because this isn't just about overlooked games, it's about a system that seems rigged against the very people who built the games we love. Don't miss this. Asmongold recently examined the Game Awards with a fresh, critical perspective that caught everyone's attention. He started by giving credit where it's due, acknowledging that the Game Awards have earned some recognition in certain areas, but then he shifted gears, revealing what he believes was a major oversight that undermines the integrity of the Game of the Year category. His key point? Too many incredible games were sidelined, and there's a growing suspicion that external factors like media bias or hidden agendas are influencing the entire process. In his latest video, Asmongold didn't pull any punches, voicing the frustration, anger, and disappointment that many gamers are feeling. And let's be honest, this pattern is all too familiar. Every year, gamers invest time and energy into supporting their favorite titles, only to watch as those games are snubbed or completely overlooked, while some eyebrow-raising nominations make the cut. It's no longer a rare occurrence, it's becoming a yearly tradition of letdowns. This year, the outrage has reached a boiling point, and it's easy to understand why. Over recent years, public criticism has only intensified, with this year's backlash hitting especially hard. The Game Awards seem more controversial than ever, but it's not all bad, there's some bright spots too. For example, Black Myth Wukong managed to earn a spot in the conversation, which is a win in itself. That's a surprising win, especially considering how little attention Black Myth Wukong received before its launch, but just when it seems like there's a glimmer of hope, the rest of this year's nominations start raising more questions than answers. It's a chaotic mess, a perfect storm of controversy. This year, we've seen some head-scratching nominations that have left many gamers questioning the process. For instance, a roguelike game has made it into the prestigious Game of the Year category, a spot typically reserved for the year's biggest and most celebrated titles. Even more surprising is the inclusion of a DLC in the mix, a rare and controversial choice for such a high-profile award. But perhaps the most troubling change of all is the shift in the voting process, something that just doesn't sit right. It feels like the integrity of the entire event has been called into question. The Game Awards, once seen as a celebration of gaming excellence, are starting to feel more like a political game of chess match where external factors such as agendas and alliances may be playing a bigger role than the games themselves. It's a shift that has left many gamers frustrated and questioning the authenticity of the process, and as expected, there are some people online throwing out the tired, "why do you even care" argument. Sure, it's easy to dismiss the awards as just a big, flashy night of self-congratulatory back-patting, but here's the thing, they do matter more than some might think. Now, no one's saying the Game Awards are the end-all be-all of gaming validation, but they do have real, tangible effects. It's not just about the trophy or the speech, it's about what winning means for the developers and their games. Winning Game of the Year isn't simply about earning bragging rights or securing your place in history. It's about the boost it gives developers on a much more practical level. Yes, it can do wonders for the morale of gamers, but the financial impact is where it truly counts. A game that wins such an award can expect a massive increase in sales, especially when the ceremony takes place right before the holiday shopping season. Gamers see the name of that title plastered everywhere, from online articles to storefronts, and think, maybe I should check this out. Take Baldur's Gate 3, for example. The game not only smashed sales records upon its release, but also gained even more attention after racking up Game of the Year win 7, if you're keeping count. It stayed in the spotlight for weeks, even months, thanks to its repeated wins, and people who had never even thought about playing it suddenly found themselves curious. They couldn't ignore the hype anymore. They thought, okay, I'll see what all the fuss is about. Winning Game of the Year can be a game changer, not just in the moment, but for the future of the studio behind the title. When a game wins big, it opens doors that were previously closed. Publishers who might have once overlooked a studio suddenly start paying attention. They recognize the talent, and that's when the studio gains leverage. They can pitch new ideas, request the resources needed to bring them to life, and begin to chart a course for even bigger projects in the future. This isn't just about celebrating a game's success today, it's about setting up a studio for long-term success, securing their place in the industry for years to come. But here's the kicker: while the developers are reaping the rewards, the players benefit too. Even if it's not immediately obvious, these awards push the entire industry forward in ways that ripple out and affect all of us. When a game wins such a prestigious title, it sets a benchmark for the entire industry. It establishes a goal that other developers aim to meet or surpass. Think about how Elden Ring, Breath of the Wild, or The Last of Us shaped the gaming landscape. Their innovations and successes raise the bar for what we can expect from games, whether it's in terms of storytelling, world building, or gameplay mechanics. And let's not forget the indie developers. The Game Awards aren't just about big budget titles. The smaller games, the hidden gems, often find a spotlight because they score a nomination. For many of us, discovering those lesser known titles is a game changer. How many times has a game caught your eye because it was nominated or recognized in some way during the awards? For me, it's been a great way to find those niche games that I would have otherwise never known existed. At its core, when the Game Awards are at their best, they aren't just about celebrating the games of the year, they become a cultural moment. They celebrate gaming as an art form, and they push us to think about what gaming could aspire to become. Sure, the Game Awards have their flaws. This year's issues are certainly no small matter, but they still provide a platform that drives innovation, rewards developers for their hard work, and helps introduce us to new games we might have missed. So yes, while we can't say that the Game Awards create success, there's no doubt that they amplify it. Winning Game of the Year gives a game that little extra push, that added recognition that can turn a fantastic title into a legendary one. Creating a new game from scratch is no small feat. For studios, it's a massive gamble. You're building everything from the ground up, designing the mechanics, developing characters, crafting worlds, all without the assurance that players will even show up. It's a huge risk. On the other hand, downloadable content DLC is riding on the coattails of a successful game. Sure, expansions can enhance a game and add depth, but they don't come close to the monumental effort that goes into creating an entirely original IP. Yet the industry seems to treat them the same way, lumping them together in the same category. The inclusion of Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erdtree as a nominee this year feels like a prime example of this. It raises eyebrows because it seems like the spotlight is being taken away from new, original titles like Space Marine 2, Helldivers 2, and Dragon Age: The Veilguard. It leaves a bitter taste, like a spot that could have gone to one of these deserving games was taken unfairly. And sure, some may roll their eyes and dismiss this as conspiracy talk, but there have been growing murmurs from journalists and industry insiders. They claim certain games are being pushed into the conversation nominated despite not necessarily earning that recognition based on merit alone. There's a feeling that the Game Awards have become somewhat political, with agendas influencing decisions behind the scenes. Now let's take a moment to talk about Batro. There's been a significant amount of backlash against it, with many dismissing it as just a poker game, but to write it off so flippantly is not only unfair, it misses the heart of what Batro is all about. This isn't just a poker game with a shiny coat of paint. It's a title born out of pure passion and dedication from a developer who was working a full-time job elsewhere while creating Batro on the side. The game has already sold millions and spawned a wave of imitators, proving that it has had a genuine influence on the gaming world. But here's where the Game Awards missed the mark. The inconsistency in their nomination process is hard to ignore. Changes in eligibility, like suddenly recognizing DLCs as nominees, weren't exactly transparent or well communicated. These shifts feel more like strategic moves designed to fit a certain narrative rather than truly recognizing the best and most innovative titles. And this raises the question, why wasn't Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty nominated last year? It's a high-quality expansion that made waves and deserves recognition. Yet, it wasn't even in the conversation. The irregularities in the nomination process make it hard for the public to take the awards seriously, leaving us to wonder what the real motivations behind these changes might be. The real issue here, though, is the voting system itself. Here's the breakdown: 90% of the vote is controlled by a jury of industry professionals, while the remaining 10% is left to the fans. Yes, you read that right, minus 10%. That means the audience, the very people who buy and play these games, have little to no say in what gets celebrated. And let's be real, who are these industry professionals deciding the fate of the game of the year? A quick glance at the list of jury outlets is enough to make any gamer scratch their head. We're talking about entertainment-focused publications like Rolling Stone, The Atlantic, and even Variety. Sure, these are respected outlets, but let's be honest, are they really immersed in gaming culture? It feels less like an attempt to represent the gaming community and more like a desperate grab for Hollywood's stamp of approval. Jeff Keighley's vision of turning the Game Awards into the Grammys of gaming sounds nice, but at what cost? The gaming industry is a massive, thriving ecosystem that's bigger than both music and film combined. Trying to copy Hollywood's format seems more like pandering than progress. And here's where the frustration from players comes in. Fans feel completely disconnected from the event. Their voices are barely heard, and when they speak up, their concerns are often dismissed as toxic gamer outrage. This only makes things worse. Some articles even mock players for being passionate about their games, labeling it as irrational. But this isn't how you close the gap between fans and the industry, it's how you make it wider. Because let's face it, the fans' opinions don't really matter here. The controversy surrounding the nominations isn't just about a single DLC or indie title, it's about a growing feeling that the Game Awards no longer represent the gamers themselves. This event should be a celebration of what we love, a moment to highlight the best of gaming, not a spectacle designed to please industries outside of gaming that don't understand or respect what makes this culture unique. At its core, gaming thrives on passion. It's what drives developers to create masterpieces, and it's what makes players fight for the games they love. When the awards feel more like a corporate cash grab or media spectacle rather than a genuine reflection of gaming's best, that passion turns into frustration and the divide between the industry and its audience grows even wider. What do you think? Do you agree with the frustrations around the Game Awards? Are the changes to the voting process fair, or do they undermine the community? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Movie Saga, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on more discussions like this one. See you next time.